Hello everyone, and welcome to a series of new videos where we will take a look at more contemporary, or what some might call hot button topics that are being debated on social media or that we may have seen in the news. And we don't want to just talk about these topics by themselves. Pastor, you were describing to me a great way of how we should be viewing these topics.
Yeah, we want to look at these topics in terms of what's taking us further away from Jesus and His finished work for us. Again, Jesus didn't just die for people inside the church. Everything He did for the whole world. So how do these things lead us further away from Christ and His finished work? Because it's only in Him that we find peace.
And these videos, to keep them short and concise, we're going to ask you to look back on some of our other previous videos from the Behind the Doctrine series. Those doctrines, those teachings from the Bible will help inform and go along with some of these more current topics. So with that in mind, we're going to go into our first big topic, which is human sexuality and human marriage. Pastor, how is it that you want to start this conversation?
Yeah, we should start by saying that the only perfect and God-pleasing human relationship between two people lasted for a week or less. And that's a reference to Adam and Eve and Genesis chapter 2, where God first instituted marriage. But after Adam and Eve decided they wanted to be like God, then ever since then, people have been misusing and abusing God's gift of marriage and sexuality, including people inside the church. I would say people misuse and abuse God's gift of marriage and sexuality by using it as a means of self-salvation, and we'll talk more about the ways that we do that in other videos. But this is something that we see already in Genesis all over the place, people misusing and abusing God's gift of sexuality and marriage. Lamech is the first one who comes to mind, Genesis chapter 4, who takes one wife isn't enough for him, so he takes two. And then we get to Genesis 12, Genesis 20, where we're walking through the life of Abraham. He's held up as the man of faith, and yet he, on two occasions, is afraid for his life and basically throws his wife Sarah under the bus in a non-God-pleasing way. She's attractive physically, and she's attractive just in her personality, her character. And so because Abraham's afraid that these other kings and leaders are going to want her as her wife, something bad's going to happen to him. So he basically puts her in a place where she could be raped, where she could be, have to have sexual relations with men who are not her husband. So we see this among the patriarchs, Abraham, people of faith, Genesis 38, Judah, and Tamar. I'm just going to give you some other references to look at. Read Leviticus 19, something that happens within Israel, the visible church. So this isn't just something that happens outside the church, Derek. This is stuff that happens inside the church and has always been happening inside the church.
And so I guess the next question we should ask is, how does Jesus fit into this question?
Great. Oftentimes people want to know, what does Jesus say about human marriage and sexuality? But really, the question we should ask is, what does Jesus do? And in Ephesians chapter 5, the Apostle Paul writes that, he quotes from Genesis, that for this reason a man will leave his father and mother, and the two will become one flesh. He and his wife will become one flesh. And Paul says, this is a mystery, what I'm about to say. And that is that he's talking about Jesus and the church. Even in Genesis 2, God was already had in mind His plan, His rescue plan, the way that God the Son was going to come into this world for faithless people, for people who were running from Him, and show His undying, unconditional love for them, for us. And it's a love that drove Him to the cross. And so the only perfect relationship, the only meaningful relationship, and the only relationship that's really going to satisfy all our longings is to be united to Christ, our Savior, our rescuer. And that's where we want to start all these videos from.
Excellent. And so we're going to stop the video there and leave those other topics for later videos. If you have any further questions, please put those in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We thank you for your time, and have a blessed day.